Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeff, this is Will to Live Outdoors, and behind me is the most perfectly imperfect Land Rover I have ever owned. That's right, Alfie. We rescued this vehicle from a salvage yard. It was gonna go straight to the crusher. It was told to us that this vehicle had a totally blown motor. And in fact, all that was wrong with it was the plug wires were mismatched on each side, so anyway, I was backfiring horrendously, and I thought, well, it's got too good a compression to be a blown motor. And sure enough, she started right up, and we've built it up into what it is today. So let's do a quick walk around, and we'll get into everything that makes this vehicle what it is. Carpet was removed a number of years ago when we flooded it out, and you can still actually see water level was above the speakers, and you can still see a little bit of where it came through. That's all the mud is still in here. Removed the carpet, never put it back in. Yeah, still chasing a random leak. That's all right. She's a trail truck, so I don't need it to be a trailer princess. So, all right, how many miles does it have on it? We have 106,560 to date. She had about 94,000 whenever it was rescued. Let's see. It's a 99 Discovery 2. Still sporting its Automobile All-Star Best Compact Sport Utility Vehicle for the 1999 year. Still have some residue from the last camping trip, last off-road outing. Let's see here if you can see. Yep, right there. That's where the water level was at. So, I mean, we completely flooded it out. And, but you know what? This vehicle has absolutely never left me stranded. So it did make the trip back home. Let's have the jump seats. I plan to, sometime here in the near future, get a spare, and I will mount that in the place of where one of those jump seats is at. And rework this to maybe give me an area to either mount the trash bag to, or possibly to have some sort of like molly panel or whatnot to put a traction boards, maybe mount the jack there, but I may end up doing that on the inside. I'm just not exactly sure yet. And then on this other side over here, take that jump seat out and do some sort of onboard air. All right, let's start up here at the top. We'll work our way down and try to keep this to a minimum. So let's go over everything that's on this truck. This is the Voyager rack, Expedition roof rack. Was purchased in maybe the spring of 2010, I believe. Purchased this for my other D2, which is currently still in a state of rebuild. But we borrowed it, put it on here. I thought about taking it back off of this vehicle, but actually, believe it or not, it is so well made that I have used this actually has kept me from blowing out the Safari windows, and I've used this to pivot off of trees. It is amazingly strong, and I just totally believe in it. So probably one day we'll end up getting another one for the other vehicle when we get it back up and going. I mean, it's just super. I mean, you can see I've hit it so hard that I've cracked my rail, and that's just as straight and true as it was when I first bought it. All right, and I have 4 Hella. Those are the Rally, I think 4000s, if I remember correctly. Old school halogen. They are extremely bright. The two in the middle have gotten kind of opaque. Also, one of those in the middle, the bulb is out. So again, it's She's not perfect by any means, but they are effective when they're working properly. Safari snorkel, and I've hit this on tree branches and everything. Probably going to try to get one of those small Cyclone, Cyclone Donaldson pre-filters to fit up there to take the place of this. But I think they do make replacement grates for those. All right, let's pop the hood real quick and we'll take a look. This has the V8 with the 4.0. Haven't done anything internally to this one at all. My other Land Rover had a mild cam that I'd done. This did get head gaskets about probably 3,000 miles ago, and when I did that, I used ARP studs, but that's the only big modification. Don't laugh at my wiring nightmare. That is the only real modification that I've done to the engine itself is just on the cooling side. I do have an inline thermostat, so let's check that out. All right, here's my inline thermostat. This is to bleed the system. This is, I think Mazir makes that. That's just an aluminum housing, and inside that is a small block Chevrolet thermostat. Those will come either with a poppet or without. I got one without and then drilled a small hole just so it has the proper amount of bypass. Everything's worked really well with that. That's pretty much for the engine. Okay, we're running a Xeon 10S winch. I have factor 55 thimble here. This bumper was purchased in 2009. I finally had I waited over a year to get it and had to basically out the guy on a Land Rover's only message board in order to get my product. It's an ongoing saga. If you recognize the make, good for you. I'm not going to mention his name here because I just that was horrible, and a lot of people lost a lot of money off of him. These are his rock sliders that he produced as well. They've seen better days, and I'm going to rework them completely, especially since I had to trim off some more. We'll talk about those in a second. Anyway, bumper was fairly strong, but I knew something was wrong almost immediately. If you'll look here, I've had to notch out on both sides, and actually had to notch out the frame horn as well, and it still fits like exceedingly tight, and it which is all right on this truck. But I mean, if I had a really nice looking vehicle that was a maybe like an Overland truck or something like that, I would have been like really wickedly mad, because it's just unacceptable. It's just a bad job. Rock sliders, I plan on getting, of course I've got to get that fixed, and probably going to go with a little bit thicker bar and a little bit of a kick out toward the back that at least gets me out as wide as the tires. Let's come around to the back here. All right, Lucky 8 bumper. These were a prototype. I bought these, saw them listed on a message board. Got a really good deal on those. Just kind of been using that as a platform to continue to build something else to it, to make it a little bit more, robust. And so I added these, take the place of those plastic things that always break. Added that to it. These are cool, but you can't really see the turn signals or the rear fogs, so I'm going to rework that and make it where it's a little bit better, to more visible. Or I might put those just right here somewhere. I just haven't decided yet. All right, moving underneath. I had actually a local fab shop did a really fantastic job here. And I have a gas tank skid, which I still need to paint. And the plan is to tie in gas tank skid to these side pieces here and give me some protection, and give a also to kind of make that where I can slide off of larger rocks, keep from getting hung up, as you can see there. And I also had the local fab shop make me some straight on D-ring points, recovery points, and these were the original ones that came with the bumper, and I'm just not sure about the side pull. It looked odd. I mean, I guess it would have maybe gets it less in the way of your approach angle and whatnot, but I don't know. Anyway, I just felt like it needed to have something more straight on. That's cool, handy too, but I've got two now. All right, now let's just, we're gonna discuss suspension. So this has a 100% full-on Rover Time, the 4-inch lift. It comes with new shock towers, new Watts linkages, front and rear arms. They are modified, and I'll show you those in a second. It comes with everything that you're gonna need, but it does not have shocks. So before we get into showing you the arms and the springs and everything, let's just talk about the shocks. So I've got Fox remote reservoir front and back. I sourced these from Lucky 8, and if you have any questions, they will have them valved specifically for your needs, and I can give you a recommendation. I want to say these are 1012s or a 1014, but I'm not 100% sure. That refers to the length of the shock body and how much travel it's going to have. But it seems to work really, really well. I'm going to switch the camera around so we can take a look at this. I'm going to have to get a mount point for these, because right now I've just got them just laid in here, and it's not the best place to keep these high dollar shocks. And I think the best place to do would be to get some sort of brace that goes across the engine and mount them kind of like at this angle here, because I've got plenty of room. Either that, or to cut an additional hole here and mount them inside or just on the side of the wheel well. Anyway, they're adjustable as well, so you can give them a little bit more dampening that you might need. In addition to that, I have deleted the rear sway bar, and I retained the front sway bar. I have it currently disconnected, and you can store it up out of the way. I don't remember where I sourced this from, but I want to say that fits like an XJ Jeep, or it was some sort of a Jeep. All right, now the Rover Time springs. These are the front springs. They have a modified mount at the bottom. Your normal Discovery 2 has a flat, has two bolts on either side that hold it and retain it to the bottom of your your spring seat. These actually have a mount for an eyelet to go through, and work really, really well. Opens up a whole world of possibilities for shocks. Let's take a look at the there. That is the adjustable shock tower. Now, if you do this, you're going to be faced with what to do with your coolant reservoir. I just flipped it around and made a small bracket, and I've wheeled pretty hard, and it's just exactly where I put it at. So this seems to work. I also want to say that it's a possibility that on a P38, they're made just backwards, so you also could possibly use one of those. But this is adjustable, so you can drop your shock to give it more bottom out. But like I said, it's just I still have some adjusting to do on this. So where it officially ends up, it's some I'm not sure, but that's that. All right, moving underneath, it's your cranked arms. That is a double cardan drive shaft for the front, and these are the cranked arms in the back, and do away with the Rotoflex coupling at the back, and that is a let's see if I can get up underneath here. It's the drive shaft. All right, you can see the Watts linkage right there, and just I'll go around to the other side so we can see where it connects on the other side. But it's the Fox remote reservoirs. This extended brake lines all the way around, extended ABS lines, and terra firma diff guards. Now, for the things that you cannot see. Okay, for the things that you cannot see, we are running in the differentials. We're running full lockers, front and rear. I actually went with a Kaiser locker. There was a lot of hype about that back in the early 2010, 2011, 2012. I started watching a lot of videos that showed some of the crazy stuff that those trucks could do that were equipped with the Kaiser locker. You just get on there and you can Google it up and look. It's a little bit unusual the way that the feel, but it's like it can lock and unlock, and it'll be a 100% lock, but it's like an auto locker in some respects. It's just a little bit different, and it takes a little getting used to, because as soon as you give it some gas, it is going to be 100% full lock. But if you're in a corner and you let up a little bit, sometimes it may lock and unlock, and you just kind of get a little bit. It's an acquired learning process to be able to feel confident driving it down the highway. But it can be done. I'm just saying, it's just a little bit different. So Kaiser lockers, axle shafts, I went with the Ashcroft HDs. Had no problems at all with those. I got the Ashcroft from Lucky 8 as well. So that leads me to gears. So differential gears, I'm running a 475 gear sets front and back. They are, I got those from Great Basin's Rover, GBR Utah. They used to have a lot of different variations. Like I think they did like 411s, 410s, 434s, and then the like 475s, even like a competition set that were like really heavily geared. This will run about on the highway 65 miles an hour. I'm going to be turning about 2,700 RPMs, which, you know, it's got a really good crawl gear. It feels really good, and it's enough to push these 37s. And as you can see, we have really cut and grinded and did some clearancing. Probably going to take a little bit more here off the back, and we're going to get dislocation cones so we can properly get the amount of travel that I know that this truck is capable of. But we're getting really close. So anyway, I think I've covered almost everything that I've either added, installed, just a little bit about my truck. And like I said, she's imperfectly perfect. She's even got a guy's name. But I mean, I love this truck. I do. I just even with all the faults and everything, never left me stranded. Absolutely love it. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. And if you would, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, leave us a comment, and tell us if there's any questions that you need me to go into further detail or anything like that. I will be more than happy to answer any question that you might have. Thank you so much.